Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you a few cards. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you cards that I got as a gift. I'm going to show you some cards from an SGC return, and then I'm going to show you a card that I bought on eBay that the whole purchase, put a really big smile on my face and brought back a memory that was way back here from way back in the day. So first, let me show you a card a couple cards that I got. So this card right here is a gift from Mauricio. You've heard me talk about him. I work with Mauricio and Andy, and they're both card collectors, and they talked me into sending off some cards for an SGC return, and it was all modern cards. But this is a card that was given to me when Mauricio got his cards back. This is a Bobby Witt card, and it was not part of the return, but it was a gift from him. Now this was part of the return. This is an SGC 10 Bobby Witt, and when Mauricio got that back, he said, "Here, you can have it." Now, he's a Yankees fan. He knows I'm a Royals Bobby Witt fan. And so maybe I can find some Yankee cards and give him some cards in kind. Now, my return, I sent off 3 cards, and this is one of them. Now, you can see my grade isn't quite as nice as his, but Maurice tends to have an eye for it. But I just kind of wanted this card slabbed and in my collection. Now, I sent off another one, and this is Carlos Beltran, and that's considered a rookie card. Now, what's weird is it's considered a rookie card, but that's not even Carlos Beltran. But he's going to get in the Hall of Fame, I believe, sometime. And just in case, I wanted to be ahead of the curve and get a Carlos Beltran graded. And here's another card that I got. And this is a Justin Verlander. And it's a beautiful card. And love to have it in my collection. Now, I told you that I bought a card off of eBay. And it brought a smile to my face. So listen, I'm going to try to tell this story, and I hope every bit of it's correct. There might be a hole or two in the story, but I'm really not embellishing the story. This is just how I remember it. So I got this card right here from eBay. It didn't even cost $20, and it's Willie Stargell working on the Willie Stargell run, and that's the card. That's not the card, however, from this purchase that brought a smile to my face. See, sometimes when you buy stuff off eBay, and then some of you guys that even trade cards and sell cards, you'll send a card like that, and then you'll throw in some other cards just so maybe you can get some return business or just to be nice. For instance, if you buy a Willie Stargell card, sometimes a dealer might throw in other Pirates cards, assuming that you're a Pirates fan, or maybe even throw in a few lesser valued Willie Stargells. That's not what happened in this case. This dealer, when he sent me this card, he put 2 slabbed cards in there. One as a gift, and here's the card that brought a smile to my face. This is a 1980 Rick Russell. Now, why in the world would a 1980 Rick Russell card bring a smile to my face? Well, this is how that story goes. When I was a freshman or a sophomore, we got cable at our house, and the cable network was WGN we'd get, or the Turner Broadcasting Station, and I could watch Braves games or Cubs games, and my dad became a Cubs fan because of it. So that itself kind of puts a little smile on my face. But I remember watching a game in the early 80s, like maybe 82. I haven't checked the stats or the back of baseball cards, but the Cubs had a rookie infielder, middle infielder, and his name was Pat Tabler. Now, Pat Tabler grew up to be a first baseman and a DH because I don't think he was very good defensively at second. But he was called up and he subsequently traded to make room for Ryan Sandberg, I believe. That's how I'm going to tell it anyway. But anyway, in a game in the early '80s, they were playing against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and there was tension between the two teams from previous games, and you could just tell when the game started there was tension in the air. But for some of you that didn't know this, in the late '70s and early '80s, they had some different rules. For instance, one of them, you could just demolish a middle infielder if they were trying to turn a double play and make that pivot at second base. And I would like you to pause this right here and go Google Hal McRae breaking up a double play. And if you don't Google it now, wait till the end of this. But take my word for it if you're young enough and didn't see much of it. But I remember one time that in the World Series or in the American League Championship Series, Willie Randolph received the ball from the shortstop, and Hal McRae was on first base. And he catches the ball and he turns to make the pivot, and when he does, Hal McRae is right on top of him and doesn't start to slide until he hits him. And when the dust settled, Willie Randolph was somewhere between second base and the parking lot. I mean, Hal McRae just took him out. So you need to go see some of those breaking up double play videos from the late '70s and early '80s. Well, Pittsburgh Pirates had one of those type players, and his name was Bill Madlock. Now, I just mentioned Bill Madlock. There's some of you that's going to watch this that smile when you think of him because he was a great player. At least I believe so. He was a 3-time batting champion. He was a perennial all-star. He also played for the Cubs at one time, and that's what makes this thing even more fiery. But Bill Madlock was on first base in this ball game. Pat Tabler was playing second. A ball was hit to the shortstop. The shortstop flips it to second base, and as Tabler turns to throw the ball for a double play, Bill Madlock is all over him. Bill Madlock tackles him for the most part like he's a middle linebacker and takes him out. And Pat Tabler laid there for the longest time. But while he was laying there, taking a nap after being crushed, the benches cleared. And I never saw anybody more mad than this Rick Russell. Now, Rick Russell looked like a mild-mannered science teacher when he played. He wore these glasses. He was a large man, 6'3" or so, maybe 6'4". But look at a video of the All-Star game when he gave up the home run to Bo Jackson. I mean, he weighed, on the back of this card, I think it says he weighs 220 pounds, but he weighed 270 at least, and he was a mountain of a man. Now, even though I always thought he was mild-mannered, they couldn't hold him back. He was trying to get to Bill Madlock, and I don't know if that would have been a good idea because Bill Madlock was not a little guy. He wasn't tall in stature, but what he lacked in stature, he made up for in muscle and just, heck, he was known as Mad Dog sometimes. And I have another story to tell about Bill Madlock a little later on, my experience with him, but I'm not going to tell it on this video. But Bill Madlock was nobody to be messed with. Well, anyway, Rick Russell, they kept him from it. He didn't get there, and probably good reason. But that's not why I'm smiling when I say that. The next part's why I'm smiling. They carried Pat Tabler off the field. Nobody was thrown out of the game. Heck, Bill Madlock just kind of trotted off and got his glove and got ready to go out and play third base. Well, at the end of the inning, Bill Madlock goes to play third. And, the Cubs and Pirates are still chirping at each other. Just like most baseball fights, not when the bench is clear, not much happens. But this time, Cubs batter, pretty quick guy, got on second base. What did the Cubs do? They brought in Rick Russell to run as a pinch runner for the guy on second base. Why in the world would you bring in a 6'4" pitcher that weighed 275 pounds to pitch run? He's not your speedster. So the next batter got up and bunted toward third base. Rick Russell wasn't even looking for the bag, didn't even touch the bag. But he kind of rounded, and as Bill Madlock was picking up the ball, Bill Madlock luckily got out of the way, because if this guy was on a mission to run. And Bill Madlock picked up the ball, and when he picked up the ball, he kind of stepped back, and Russell wasn't all that athletic, and so he tries to dive after him, and he misses him, and he falls down, and he tumbles into the foul grass. He gets a warning from the umpire, but doesn't get thrown out of the game. Goes back to second base, an out occurs. Next guy gets up, lays down a bunt, same thing. Rick Russell doesn't get all the way over there, and the umpire kind of steps in between, but Rick Russell was still on a mission. Well, a pop-up to the infield came, and it was going to end the inning. And as Rick Russell was rounding the base, Bill Madlock wasn't anywhere near third base. And Rick Russell came closer to the umpire than he came to Bill Madlock. There was another fight or so that happened that game. But what brought a smile to my face is this guy right here is a lesser known version of Herb Washington. He gets to tell people that he got to be a pinch runner. Now, they wanted to take out Bill Madlock, and that second base rule has since changed. You see people today, they slide 20 feet early, or they get way out of the baseline. One, they don't want to get hit with the ball as the second baseman's turning two, but also the rules are a lot harsher now. It's a lot safer for the second baseman. It seems to be a lot more fair. But when I got that card in the mail from the eBay seller, it brought a smile to my face. And I hope I got this story correct. It's the way I remember it, and I've remembered it for more than 40 years this way. And I'm glad I got to share it with you. Now, guys, I'm having a wonderful time. It's great showing cards, even the new stuff, and it's great telling stories. But remember, this is just a hobby. Collect what you like.